Countrymen, men of the Empire, listen to me. I tell you, when the sun rests and the world is dark and great fires are lit and the ale is poured into flagons, then it is time to sing the sagas as the dwarfs do. The greatest saga is the saga of Sigmar, the mightiest warrior. Hearken now, and hear these words, and live in hope.
In the imperial calendar, which now bases its starting date upon the coronation of Sigmar by the Ulric, Sigmar is believed to have been born around -30 IC, in what is now the northern areas of Reichland, into a land that was divided by many warring tribes in the land that is now the Empire. Sigmar's tribe was the Unberogen, one of the most powerful tribes of this time, rivaled only by the Teutogens and the chaos-worshipping Norsai to the north. His father was the legendary warrior king Bjornsson Unberogen, son of Redmane Dragor, who purged the flesh-eating Skriani from the lands of men in an age long gone. The birth of the royal son was a cause for much celebration amongst the Unberogen, and Bjorn ordered great feasting to be held to honour the gods for his blessing, while wise men came from all around the Unberogen holdings to speak of the portents they had witnessed that would affect the child's birth. They made many predictions, as the wise men often did, but in the end, it was when one of the wise men had gutted a hare and read its entrails that the truth of any of these signs became apparent, for it was found that with the coming of childbirth, both mother and son would die. Pale with fear, Bjorn gathered his trusted bodyguard to journey into the domain of the hag woman of Brackenwalsh, an ancient seeress. She alone had the knowledge to save the family of the Unberogen king. Bjorn and his retinue journeyed to the Brackenwalsh, this place that no man dared go to, filled with dark things. It was also said that the winding paths led to the underworlds of the demon gods of the Norsai. At the marsh, the Unberogans abandoned the cart that they had placed the mother in, for the ground was too treacherous. To the heart of the marsh they journeyed, where the seer was reputed to dwell. They found nothing there, save her shack and cauldron. Bjorn stayed with Griselda, as his royal guard fanned out to explore the shack. The hardened warriors started when they noticed clear blue eyeballs peering at them from the broth, and human bones strewn about the abode. The orcs that the land was infested with had boiled the crone alive in her own cauldron. From all sides the orcs came, howling and baying, drawn by the scent of Griselda's blood and eager to shed yet more. Bjorn, roaring a terrible battle cry, no less fearsome than the cries of the orcs, launched himself into the fray and fought as only a man defending that he cherished could, slaying many orcs at a time with great sweeps of his legendary axe, Soul Taker. Eventually, he closed in after carving a path through the orcs with the orcish chieftain, a massive, brutal creature towering above all the others on the battlefield, swollen in growth from many victories, as the orcs do. Man and orc, the fiercest of rivals, now locked in mortal combat, until Bjorn smashed the orc into the ground and tore open his throat with his dagger. The battle had been won, but many of Bjorn's royal guard, most loyal and skilled soldiers, were slain, and it was far too late to save his wife. Bjorn rushed to Griselda's side, only to find her dead from blood loss. Weeping, he nonetheless spied an infant stirring at her feet, wallowing in the mingled blood of human and orc. Sorrowful at the death of his love, Yet overjoyed at the birth of his son, the grieving king raised the infant into the air as a mighty peal of thunder cracked the sky, and a great comet lit the night with twin fiery tails. Thus was born Sigmar Unberogen, who had entered the world with the sound of battle in his ears and the feel of orcish blood upon his flesh. The years went on, and Sigmar grew to become a fierce and strong warrior. Before he had reached even the cusp of manhood, he was already a capable and respected fighter, bringing much pride to his father. He forged long-lasting friendships with 3 fellow tribesmen, Wulfgart Krieger, Pandrag, and Trivantes. These 3 warriors would eventually become his sword brothers, and would follow him on his path to unite the tribes. One summer, on the day before his 10th year, Sigmar sparred against Wulfgart. The latter was 3 years older, as well as taller and stronger, and defeated the Unberogen prince. Incensed at his humiliation, Sigmar swung the smelting hammer that he used as his weapon when Wulfgart's back was turned, breaking the older boy's arm. At the sight of his friend's agony, Sigmar's rage was swept away and replaced with the horror at what he had done. And it was then that he was taken by his father and taught an important piece of wisdom.
Sigmar, all men feel anger, but to become a great leader, you must master it. Today, you vented your anger upon one who did not deserve it. Learn to direct your strength for the good of your people, not for their ill.
With that, Bjorn sent Sigmar upon his dooming day, where he would stand amidst the tombs of his fathers and hear their wisdom, that he might learn to forge his future as king. Within those tombs, he offered up a bull's heart as a sacrifice in honor of Mor. Behind him, the portal through which he had entered had been sealed by a boulder. Trapped, Sigmar made a prayer to the mighty Ulric and his honored ancestors, offering all that he was if they would save him from perishing with his life unfulfilled. The future king spied a shaft of light breaking through the dark rock, and exerting his already fearsome strength, Sigmar managed to nudge a great boulder blocking his escape away. He staggered away from the halls of his ancestors, a thanks to Ulric on his lips. He climbed to the top of the hill that the tombs of his fathers were carved into, and there he could look upon the lands of his father in their full entirety. What he saw made his heart bulk. Sigmar beheld the frailty and uncertainty. He saw men huddled together, forever afraid and forever vulnerable. Scattered villages like merciful islands, but spread out amidst a sea of darkness, and enemies drawing ever closer. He saw the disparate nature of the sons of men, the inherent weakness born of jealousy, distrust, and ambition. He remembered his own rage, and the crack as Wulfgart's arm broke under his own assault, and in that unworthy act, he saw the doom of men illustrated for him by his own hands. The voices of his honoured forefathers whispering in his ears, and the courage of Ulric swelling in his breast, Sigmar knew what he had to do. Sigmar stepped into his destiny without hesitation. His mission was to unite the tribes of men into an everlasting empire, born on the foundations of strength and honour. On that day, the Heldenhammer was born. Anyone into Game of Thrones? It's statistically likely, because it's popular and you're into fantasy, at least to some degree. So yeah, but I found this accidentally. It's a Jaime Lannister being the Kingslayer just after he gets slays the king and gets found by Ned Stark, who decides he's a traitor and not trustworthy. But actually he kind of did a good deed, depending on which way you look at it. But yeah, thank you for watching. This series should be rather good, and for later episodes I'll have more art to choose from. It's a little bit scarce at the minute, seeing as this isn't in the usual story that is told in Warhammer. You know, it's kind of backstory, so it's kind of scarce for getting shit to show you that's specifically what is being described, you know. And also my boy Dakota White, who suggested Dark Elves and High Elves for a subject. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. I just decided to make this one today. But I'll work those in at some point, and we'll get those covered. Don't you worry about it, boys. Yeah. So that'll either be between episodes of this series, or maybe I'll do series and them afterwards, or something like that. I haven't fully worked it out yet, but don't you worry. They will be covered, trust me. And if anyone else wants to suggest future subjects, then please do, because I'd like to be providing you things that you actually want to see, you know, because there's a lot of shit to choose from here. You know, we got all day, we got all we've got a whole library of lore and a whole history of a continent, multiple continents, to be talking about here. So you know, this is just how the cookie crumbles. We just got to make sure we cover it in the right order, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, also someone suggested something about the Empire, and I thought I didn't want to just do the standard Empire, because I didn't want to cover like a faction again. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just go into like a faction. So I just thought I'd be a bit kooky and go with the history of Sigmar. So I hope that's alright for you, because he's, you know, a fundamental part of the Empire. And I think once this series is over, I'll do some videos about like the Empire in its current state, and because you know that will kind of follow on quite nicely. But yeah, I guess this is going to mean that I'll have to do these elf videos in between episodes of this series. But you know, we'll get it done. Please keep suggesting. Thank you for all the engagement, and cheers, boys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have a nice day.